will be the last day. I count on attendance. Okay? Because we have 5, 6 people to do presentations. Alright, let's move on. This one here. Describe the Buddhism and psychology. You want to say something? Who is here? So what do you think about the relationship between Buddhism and psychology? You learn similar? How? Let's go back. What's the definition of psychology here? Psycho. What's it?
Like study of the mind.
Yeah, to study the mind. And Buddhism is the decision to study how to transform the mind. That's similar. That's why if you are in psychology major, like what's the number 4? Yeah, if you are in psychology major, you find so much similarity between Buddhism and psychology. Buddhism talk about the mind, how to control, how to transform the mind, how to transform the feeling, sensation, and so forth. We talk about the eye consciousness, right, and the sense, and so forth. So that's why it's incompatible with psychology. And but in Buddhist ways, it goes beyond psychology in the sense that it goes deep into a different state of consciousness instead of dealing with emotion, feeling, and so forth. So this is a school of Buddhist psychology too. And you know, Carl John, you know, if you study psychology, you know this man, right? You know him?
I'm familiar.
So he's one of the founders of Western psychology, and he utilized many elements, many Buddhist elements, and add into the Western psychology. Because Buddhism is not only the science of the mind. So there's many video clips about Buddhist and psychology, especially now they can have many courses that offer at some university about Buddhist psychology and comparison between Buddhism and psychology too. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, this between Buddhism and quantum physics. Whole physics here, whole major physics. No, you guys taken physics before, right?
Yeah.
Physics?
Yeah.
Chemistry's close enough. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I took physics in high school.
I think physics here.
Okay, what is meant by quantum physics? Hold on.
It's about like the breakdown of the physical nature of subatomic particles.
What else? What else? How Buddhism relate to?
I don't know.
You know? Relate to quantum physics. Here, in quantum physics, I say that particles are not inherently existent because when you break down, right, there's no real substance there. No particle is a thing in itself. With a cell contain entity. Particles are not causeless. Why is that? Because this particle, proton, electron, and so forth, they move around, they bounce around, right? And they always in motions. They are not partless. They do not exist at indivisible points. They exist with the other particles. Particles are not permanent in the sense of having changing started in the wave particle, right? like the wave life and so forth. It's always changing, and that's why it's not impermanent. Pattern exists by interaction with the mind of an observer. What do you mean? It depends upon how you see, how you view things. This is many. Later on, we will show you this. Okay, so it is similar. Similarly, in Buddhist way, what we call the emptiness. Remember, we talk about emptiness, and then there's this nothingness. But there's nothing that stands by itself, independently. And there's something happen because of some things. There's some cause there. Right? The reason why you come to school because you want to get a degree, you want to have a job and so forth. Particle is not complex. They do as an invisible points, like in Buddhist view, right? We talk about interdependent, right? We are dependent each other in one way and others, whether direct or indirect way. Particles are not permanent. Nothing is permanent. That's one of the important principles of Buddhism. Nothing lasts forever. Everything is changeable. And particle access by interaction with the mind of observer. Basically, because the mind of the consciousness, after we pass away, we move on to the next cycle of life and so forth. So that's what, in general, that's what it's about. And later I will show you shortly. Okay. All right. So you want to talk about Buddhism and evolutions, Miss Michelle?
I'm still catching up on the older ones.
What do you think? What do you think about evolution? What do you think? What's when you learn about Darwin evolution, right? So he postulates that we came from apes, right? Right. So what is there any similarity between Buddhism and that type of Darwin evolutions? What do you think?
We learn from past lives to continue to like.
Yeah, there's the same similar idea, but not exactly the same. Yeah, because here in the Western world, we how we normally view things as evolution or what we call cycle, right? Cycle of life, but we take in the account that the three lives, the three periods of times: past, present, and future. Right? For this present life to happen, the cycle of air, cycle of water, and so forth. Everything is going in a cycle. And when that's what we call evolution too. And for us, for Buddhists, we can say that we believe, right? Upon our karma, well, after we pass away, we may be born as human, or maybe go up to heaven, maybe go down. That's the evolution that count on the 3 periods of times, not one lifetimes. You done with your exam? You done with your exam?
Which one?
Not today?
Next week.
Huh?
Jillian's at everything.
Oh, not you're not in
Jillian.
class. Okay. Yeah. What's the name? Okay. So that's why in Buddhist view, yes, it's take account for the 3 periods of time: past, present, and future. So it's up to you just believe or not. That's your choice. And of course for Darwin, he just mentioned about this lifetime. And I know some of Even some of my followers, they have some problems.
Yes.
Yes.
12.
Huh?
Number 12.
Okay. I think I did that for you. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's Buddhist evolution. Like I asked you at the beginning of the class, how many of you believe in reincarnation? How many of you? Only a few? Okay. How are you? You believe in reincarnation? Okay. You just learned when you came to temple, or you believe when you were young? Is that in the Spanish?
Yeah.
Is it? Even most of them are follow Catholicism, but they still believe in reincarnation?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised. How about you? No?
No, I mean, I think it's possible. I don't know.
No, I mean in your community,
Oh, no.
in general. No? Okay, so that's, of course, that's beyond our analytical thinking, this is beyond our observation. So this is just how to believe. Whether recognize or not, this is up to us. Okay. Devon, you came a little bit late. What do you think about Buddhism and psychology? Is there any connection? Any connection and relationship in Buddhism and psychology?
There's some connection, like the use of mindfulness and meditation practices in psychology for therapeutic purposes, and that's pretty much all I got.
Oh, okay. It is the same, right? Just like you mentioned, because psychology is studying about the mind, and Buddhism is we practice theories or principles related to the mind. Okay, let's move on to next one, Clara. Well, it's easy. Buddhism and science. What do you find there?
Well, I think that they kind of complement each other. Science is like,
How?
science is a way to understand the external world, and then there's some trying to look inside and I think they also share similar ideas of kind of like the cosmic because my view of cosmic because of certain things like attachment and desire, you end up with like suffering.
So, since you're Buddhist, you learn the relationship between Buddhism and science when you to the class or before? You learned that before? You know that before? You know before or no? Until this class, right? Most time the Buddhist people just go there, go to the temple and have the faith, that's all, right? Alright. Joseph, you want to say something about Buddhism and science?
Buddhism and science go hand in hand, really.
How?
A lot. Because the Dalai Lama explained that you can divide Buddhism into 3 parts. Buddhism as a philosophy, as a science, or as a religion. And you can think of Buddhism as a religion because in Buddhism, the method of deduction is used in order to try to explain phenomena, external phenomena. And the aspect of religion and the aspect of science are used to balance out each other. Because science helps you look externally outwards, and religion helps you look inwards. So they balance out each other.
Here is one short sutra, or sutta. The Buddha say that he encouraged people to have a doubt. It's quite different from our tradition, right? You're not supposed to have doubt. You can believe that's all. Right? That's the I got some sense that it's blessed to have the faith, right? When Buddhism, the Buddha encouraged you to have the doubt, because the more doubt you have, the more curiosity, you may have, so that you can find the subject, find the meanings of whichever you want to investigate. So that's why I used to mention. I used to remind my Buddhist people that don't believe on the spot. Just listen and investigate, and after that you can trust. That's the way. So, like I mentioned recently, for the Buddhist people, I encourage them listen, read the books, informations, and the next step is to investigate, to think about, to contemplate. And if it's proper for you, go ahead and believe and practices. You don't need to follow. That's why here Buddha encouraged the Buddhist followers, to have the doubt. And that's why in Zen traditions, remember we talked about the koan, remember? Koan? That is the way for the master to give this type of koan, so that the student can think about, contemplate about that koan with using their intuition until one moment in their life somehow is spark up and they recognize what's the meaning of one hand, the clap of one hand. Where is your face before you were born, for example? So that's create some kind of doubt. So you can think or you can contemplate or can look into your own inner mind. And the Buddha said, don't believe in any report tradition of hearsay. We know that authorities of religious texts. So just use your understanding, use your doubt to recognize this. So, you know, sometimes some tradition is true in the past, but now outdated. Is that right? Sometimes it's so it depends. Let's say in our traditions, for example, we have what's called Thanksgiving holiday. And what do you do during Thanksgiving holiday? In Turkey. What's wrong with that? Yeah, enjoyable?
Get out of school.
Huh?
Out of school.
Out of school, okay. In Turkey, anything wrong? This is the time for us to have family reunion, right? Thanksgiving holiday, Christmas holiday, or New Year, right? And we eat turkey. That's good tradition, but in Buddhist view, is there something wrong there?
The turkey.
Yeah, they count that probably around 30 million turkeys were killed each year. Only one day. Can you imagine that if they drop one atomic bomb, right? It kill that many people. So this is good to follow some type of tradition, but we need to recognize and setback of that tradition. So don't believe offhand, and don't be not led by authorities or of the religious text. So just follow and investigate, contemplate to see whether it's true or not. Not by mere logical inference, not by considering appearance, nor by speculating opinion and so forth. Test yourself, to see yourself whether it's true or not. For example, for meditation, just try to see yourself. If you don't practice meditation, there's no way for you to feel. You don't control your mind. You go transform your mind until you sit down and do that. That's what this is so important. Of course, when we talk about the faith, but in this view, the faith should go hand in hand with the wisdom, not the blind faith. That may bring a lot of problems. Okay, so that's what is in line with science. Like you go, like you study chemistry, right? Most you have taken chemistry, right? You study chemistry in the class? No? And you have to go to the lab and mess up with some kind of chemical. To see whether it's true for those chemical reactions then. So does Buddhism. So we need to test out to see. That's why, you know, of course, as a Buddhist monk, I love the ways that I don't need to believe in anything first before I practice it. That's why I like meditation. When I could feel myself that I could control my mind, and I could share with other people. If I have not had that experience, I didn't dare to become a Buddhist monk. So that's through your experience, you recognize us that a benefit. Like you test out a piece of food, or a sip of drink, you recognize that, you feel that. Right? We have some chair here?
It's okay, thank you. Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Alright, so let's go on. She missed. Alright, about Buddhism and ecology. What's mean ecology? Why is Buddhism, how Buddhism related to ecology? How? What do you think?
It teaches us to take better care of our environment and to regard every life, even the plants and creatures as
Yeah, we can learn about the plant, the environment ourselves. What happens if we pollute our environment? Will be harmful. If we pollute the environment, we get that effect, right? Negative effect that we have that harmfulness and we'll be sick. That's why it is good that we have some kind of equipment to recognize the air, the purity of the air. But if you go to China or some Asian country, the air pollution is so bad that most of the time they have to wear the mask. Lucky enough, it's fortunate that we don't have that kind of problem. We need to take care of our environment.
Water can be polluted.
Yeah.
I'm writing a paper about the Ganges River, and I don't want my thoughts, and it's so polluted.
People don't take care of their own environment, they get sick. They be harmful for themselves. That's why we need to take care of ourselves, our mind, our body, and the environment. Whichever thing we do will affect to the whole environment that is around us. You need to take care of even our classroom, our school, our house, right? Remember, whenever you visit your friend's house, when you walk into that house, whether you have good feeling or bad feeling, the first impression, right? Whether it's neat or the messy room, the messy the house, you know that. Right? So we need to take care of ourselves.
I've heard people say, you know, there's nothing wrong with not caring about the environment because, you know, the earth is just here for us to use. But at the same time, the quality of the earth will affect our health, so it is important. Even if, you know, it's not because we care about the earth, but it's just because we care about our own health. Some people are like, you know, oh, the earth is the living creature.
I remember that a few years ago I read an article that when they still allow people to smoke in the public place, I think more than 10 years ago. So there's one guy, he went to McDonald's and smoked in front of people. And so one guy, the other guy could not control his anger. What happened when the one who was smoking and eating, I think, French fry with the ketchup. So he used it, the other guy, he came and he put his hand on the ketchup. And he said that, you pollute my air, I pollute your ketchup. That's in French. So again, but it's good that we don't, right now they set the rules that we don't smoke. Some of you smoke here? Some of you smoking? So watch out, right? Okay, especially in the public place, right? In the airport and so forth. Anyway, so you need to take care of the environment in the Buddhist view. You take care of the environment, that's when you take care of yourself. Take care of others when you take care of yourself. Alright, so let's go on. Okay, this girl, you want to say anything about Buddhism and sexuality or gender? Yeah.
I'm just going to cover more about sexuality. So basically, this is just mainly regarding like heterosexual relationships or sexuality in general. And so the Buddha basically said that any kind of sexual pleasure is kind of, he relates them to arrows or darts, and basically saying that, you know, it's a cause of suffering, and then it's one of the 5 hindrances to attaining jhana, or, you know, meditation and stuff like that. And so a lot of Buddhist monks and nuns, they choose to live, you know, like a celibate life, or they don't have a wife. But I know a couple of different schools, like in Japan and in China and Tibet, that do have, you know, they have different schools where they say that it's okay to, you know, drink alcohol and have a wife and eat meat and stuff like that. But it's only a very small percentage. In regards to, like, there's different, in regards to sexuality, there's like different things, like sexual yoga is apparently a thing, and that's kind of like a necessity for attaining Buddhahood, sexual yoga. And then in regards to homosexuality, there's, it's kind of, it depends on where you are. It's kind of more of like a social thing rather than a religious thing, because there's so many different interpretations about homosexuality. Like in Western Buddhism, it's a lot more accepted to have same-sex couples and same-sex marriages or relationships and stuff like that. Whereas, you know, you have somewhere in maybe Eastern Asia where the social norms for homosexuality is a lot more restricted, and so their viewpoints about it are a little bit different than Western. And that's about all I got.
One, you have something? Have something to say here? About others? We discussed before, right? Buddhism and gender, right? Homosexual and so forth. And of course, unless you become a monk and nun, otherwise, as lay people, yeah, you have all parties. But of course, people enjoy relationship, but most of the times, this is the marital relationship or friendship and so forth. Sometimes we still have some kind of conflict, right, on the way. And it's, for me, it's still rare to see any happy marriage. It's still rare. I don't know about your experience, but for me, I deal with many people, and it's still rare to have happy marriage. I don't know about your parents or yourself. But the same way, of course, it depends on how we deal with each other, how we be patient with each other. And actually, when we talk about the marriage in Vietnamese, when we get married, of course, we have everywhere, right? We have to listen to the exchange ring, right? And we call the ring of patient. You guys know that? You don't know, huh? It's because in Vietnamese we call nhẫn, the same as patient too. So again, if you engage in that kind of serious relationship with, I mean, the long-term relationship, like getting married, so you need to have that kind of commitment. Plus, of course, in Buddhist view, yes, we respect other people as much as they don't harm each other. That's their choice. That's their choice. As much as they don't harm each other, that's fine. Whether they're homosexual people or transgender, that's your choice, their choice, not our choice. But we need to be mindful of ourselves the way we deal with other people whenever we engage in that kind of relationship. So depend. And plus, most of the time it's on individual choice. As a Buddhist, I cannot say anything about other people. That's their choice. Since it's no fixed rule. As much as they don't harm each other, that's fine. Okay, so move on this one here. All right, Ray, you want to say something about it?
Yeah, so I only read something about like some specific neuroscientists that I know they are, but they're not like that famous. But there's two guys that have a theory about how consciousness is actually like an intrinsic property, basically meaning that like it's all matter has consciousness, in other words. And so obviously these guys respect, there's an article written about how they respect Buddhist views of like consciousness and kind of guiding all beings towards further consciousness. So there's like a big emphasis on meditation and achieving enlightenment. And so not all scientists like, you know, appreciate Buddhism that much, but there are some that really like quite involved in their work.
Yeah, probably this one is the most popular one, right?
Yep.
Buddhism, freedom of choice, right? Freedom of religion, freedom of faith. That's why, you know, it's like last time some of you came to my temple and not many people, because in Buddhism, in Buddhist traditions, they say that the temple gates always open. Whether you want to come or not, it's up to you, not us. And we see that whenever people need, they just come. That's why sometimes even when they have some problems, security problems, especially if they have funerals, if someone in the family passed away, they come to the temple and ask the monk and the nuns to do this funeral service for them. So that's it. That's the times, or the critical times that they want to see us. Because of course, so depend upon whenever people need, they can come. So there's no peace rule, there's no dogma, there's no enforcement that you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to go, you have to come to temple every Sunday. Jessica, sorry to ask you. So is that the schedule for your families to go to that temple every Monday, or that's
they're always open.
on only a Monday, not Sunday?
Yeah, they're open, but it's not saying anything.
Oh, really? You get used for a couple of years already? Okay. Yeah. So, so you can. If you need, if it's the need, if this is important, you can go. Otherwise, it's the choice. Right. Okay. So let's move on here. Okay. Christina, are you here? Oh, okay. About Buddhism and modern technology. And yes, you know, right? The importance of the Buddhist monks known is to have a quiet place in mountain, on the mountain, in the forest, on the quiet place. What happened with modern technology? Is that any useful things for us to use? Yeah, as a monk, I have my own laptop, right? Apple. Actually, it's expensive. It's more expensive than the PC, right? But I used many PC before. I really concerned about virus, spyware, and have to update Norton antivirus and so forth. It is heck. Yeah, so anyway, it's still convenient. Whether what you want to use, is up to you. If you know how to use, it's useful. If you don't know how to use, you abuse us, that's your problems. So only more technology, this is useful for us, we can use. Computer projector or and so forth. But in the past, of course, in the revolutions, it's pretty rare for monks. If you visit Burma or Thailand, it's pretty rare for you to see the monk driving the car. They're not allowed to drive the car. But here we have to go because we have this for ourselves. This is convenience, whether you know how to use it or not. Right? And cell phone too. I still use my Android smartphone, but sometimes it has a problem. So it depends how you use them. It's not because of them. There's nothing wrong with the technology, nothing wrong with money, nothing wrong with power, nothing wrong except our mind, the state of mind, how we use them in the proper way, how we use them in the wise way. That's all. Okay, so how about politics? You want to say something about Buddhism and politics? All right, Sandra, are you here? No. Milton, you want to say something about Buddhism and politics? Can monks involve with politics? What do you think?
I mean, I know it doesn't coincide with Buddhist teachings, politics in general, because I mean, yeah, politics is usually there in order to guarantee people's human rights, or it's supposed to be there for the people in general, but there's so many times where politics is dirty, or politics is used in different ways. It's hard for Buddhists to not get involved sometimes. Like, say for example, when one of the main Western white males that came over to South Asia to try to spread Christianity, and then he got into a debate with a Buddhist, and it was like a big public spectacle. The Buddhist he probably had the best intentions of, just spreading the knowledge of how Buddhists are just trying to seek enlightenment, but regardless of it, the politics behind it, he was defending Buddhism and trying to spread it through the use of downplaying another religion. And I mean, I'm saying it in a really negative manner, but like, something like that could have totally gone completely differently. He could have pulled that guy to the side, and it wouldn't have become a debate, it would have become a discussion instead with no audience. Or the times, based off of my last paper, when Buddhists were trying to establish themselves in Australia, after all the prejudice that they were suffering from, they had to some of them had to seek some help from the government. I mean, they had to depend on different kinds of politics, in order to spread the welfare. I don't know if I'm expressing things right. It's just based off of what I've read.
But I can ask a question later to me. What do you think? Can they involve in politics? Can they take the official position, for example?
I mean, it doesn't seem like it matches with what you would
Why?
teach.
Why it's not matching? Why it's not compatible? Why?
Just because
And
of
human too.
just because of the things that people relate politics to. Greed, hate,
That's the problem.
and it also, like, if you had a hand in things to manipulate situations, say like to improve the environment, for example, like keeping an oil company from building something in order to improve the environment. I mean, you're getting involved in politics, that's you taking a position. You know? Even if you don't take a formal title, that's politics.
Let me go back to the question I asked before. How many you did vote last year, last November? How many you? Only few? Okay. So regardless the party, right? Whether you vote for Trump or for Clinton, right? What happened right after that? You had what? Winner and loser. Is that right? Yeah. Winner. Oh wow, it's great.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we came on the right time. So what happened with the loser? It's terrible, right?
Decided was.
Yeah. So that's why for this view, we need to step out of that kind of realm, that kind of conflict, that kind of fighting. Because when we have fighting conflict, that's suffering there. So as Buddhist monk, for me, I say there's no way for me to involve in practice. I say clearly, even in my own Vietnamese community, or I have not worked before, and I got my citizenship since 1991, and have not worked before because I don't want to involve in that kind of politics. Whether Democrats or Republicans, still fine. So of course, as human, we need respect, right? But still, when you stay in one party, you yell at the other party. Right? You point out other parties' mistake or wrongdoing. What happened to yourself? So this is kind of fine. Yeah. And so that's why in Buddhism we need to go beyond that kind of fighting and conflict. Of course, in Vietnam, even now, there's some monks, they take official positions in Sri Lanka and so forth, but not for me. I can handle that. Unless I don't want to become a monk, I would involve in politics. I told you, when we were young, I loved to be a politician. Yeah, when I was in Vietnam, when I was about 17, 18, I loved to be a politician. But when they escaped from Vietnam from that time on, it turned my views completely. There is no way. I don't want to fight. You have to have peace of mind. When you fight, when you involve in that kind of conflict or fighting, that's just a cycle. If you want to climb up to the top, you have to oppress other people below you. And of course, when you were there, people oppress you. Let's create some kind of conflict, some kind of anxiety, fighting. This is ongoing fighting. And even in my own Vietnamese community here, you know, even the war has been for more than decades, for more than 40 years, the anger is still there. Of course, for a young generation, we don't feel that much, but for my generation, and that's why even in here, this city, I don't want to talk much about politics because it's more sensitive. It's so sensitive. You can imagine that before 1975, right, your parents or grandparents, they're so rich, they're so powerful because they have some position in the South Vietnamese government, and suddenly after 1975, everything's gone. They have empty hand. Of course, that anger there, I understand that feeling, but still in Buddhist view, that's just karma. So I don't want to involve that kind of karma. That's why it's better for me, being monk, to step out. And even in Indiana, I got jury duty. You know that? You don't know jury duty? You got that?
Yeah.
Most of you got that, right? but somehow I complained to the court over there. No, I cannot. Imagine, what do you think? Can I be witness? Can I on the bench with people to judge whether he or she a criminal and so forth? I cannot do that. So people make mistakes, and no matter what, whatever you decide, it may affect that person's life. Is that right? I can handle that karma. So I told them, since that Buddhism is against my religion, so they spare me. Anyway, so it's better for me. Of course, for you, the next person, and you still there, it is up to you. So, anyone of you love politics here? No? Alright.
So I follow it quite a bit. I follow it, just to see what's going on.
There's a lot of party. Of course, but in this country is more peaceful than other country, but it's still divided there. A lot of people have anger, right, toward Trump, right? President Trump nowadays, because of course it's not his business. And so that's why go beyond that in order to maintain peacefulness, happiness in our life. And that's the Buddhist view. And then for me, I feel clear that unless I take off my robes, otherwise I don't want to involve in this kind of fighting, this kind of politics. It's better. What in Vietnamese we say that if you focus on one profession, you're more successful than you jump here and there. It makes sense? If you focus on your major, it's better, right? So many students, right, who do the freshman or even sometimes sophomore, they jump here and there, they change the major, and what happened? It's waste of time, it's waste of money. So it's better if you decide your major when you were in high school, and when you enter the college or university, you just study straight 4 years, 6 years, and so forth. It's more successful. So there is profession. It's of course. Anyone you have minor here, a double major here? Minor. What's a minor? Math.
Anthropology.
Okay, what's a minor? That's good. The minor is a backup, but you need to focus in one major one. The major one, the one professional one. Alright, let's move on. Alright, Xian, what how can you say? Xian? No. How about Buddhism relate to other religious traditions? What do you think? What do you think about how Buddhism relate to other traditions? How do you think? And okay, let me choose. This is the this is the same I think it's represent here. Just as there are billion of people on this planet, there are also billion of different disposition and inclination. So that's people's choice. Yeah, whether they go to the church, the mosque, it's their own choice. But this is in Buddhist view, there's nothing wrong. Because everyone has different inclination. Everyone has different needs. Like you go to the restaurant, you order different plates of food. There's no way for you to order the same. Even when you go to school, everyone of you have different nature. And look at even in this classroom, anyone of you you see anyone, two of you wear the same clothes? No way. Everyone is different, so this depends upon our inclination, our wish, our potential person. So that's just a free choice there. Alright, so next one here. How about healthcare? We learned before, right? No one took here. And then meditation. We know before, right? When we do meditation, it's helpful. Buddhist meditation is helpful for our health, physical health, mental health, so you can articulate more about the Buddhist practice. And when you do the prayer too, when you do the mantra recitation, it's helpful for your health, physically and mentally. Okay, let me do the last one about Buddhism and social justice. Anyone of you say anything? Westminster social justice. Anyone of you will have a major social major? Social major? Is that right?
Sociology?
Oh, sociology.
I'm a sociology major.
Alright, so what do you think about Buddhism and social justice? What's about social justice then? What's about? Equality, right?
The right thing for society.
Human rights, right? And of course, Buddhists encourage people to treat each other equally, regardless of the race, nationality, and so forth. Regardless of each other.
Social class.
Social class.
Gender.
That's why from beginning, right? When the Buddha established the Sangha, he accepted everyone coming to the Sangha, regardless of their class. So that's what the Buddhist stand up to now. And okay, so let me show you some short clip about this. Let's see, we'll go back to about Buddhism and science. I think you may enjoy this.
There seem to be strong parallels between the Buddhist and scientific way of perceiving and understanding reality. While these ideas are not exclusively Buddhist, but rather can be found in most ancient Eastern thought, Buddhism seems to resonate quite harmoniously with these latest scientific discoveries. I wish to illustrate these ideas by first going over three main tenets of Buddhism: emptiness, interconnectivity, and the nature of reality, and then drawing the parallels of these ideas with modern scientific understanding. To your right will be links to sources of this information, including links to videos, books, and websites. The premise of this video is the belief that these two seemingly opposite modes of perception, non-material and material, intuitive and rationalistic, spiritual and scientific, are actually two ways of understanding one reality, two sides of the same coin. A very important thing to keep in mind while watching this is that there lies a large discrepancy between how we perceive reality and how reality actually exists.
Anyway, it's still long. Yeah, can you turn on? It's still long, but this is the groups that talk about there's between Buddhism and science in the sense of emptiness, interconnectivity, and so forth. All right, so now let's finish this class today. But before we end, so please come on next Tuesday to listen to the presenters, Paul, White, Sarah, Francis, Wells, Jesus, and well, 3 more, right? And next Tuesday will be the last day of the class. I count for attendance. So please come, alright? So how if you are taking the final day? This week, a lot. So try to calm your mind. Try to take a deep breath when you come into the test. Calm your mind. Wonderful. All right, see you next Tuesday. Yeah, thank you.